Hey everybody. Today we have a special Q&A session with none other than National Master Matt Jensen. We took a bunch of questions from our website and from our Discord just to do a little Q&A session. So I shared a few questions with Matt for stuff that are a bit more involved and we wanted nice, solid, thought out answers. But for this video, we're going to go over all the questions that I have not yet shared with him. So, all right, you ready for mystery questions?
I am, and I'll still try to give solid thought on answers. We'll see how it goes.
Alrighty. First question is an easy one, so don't stress. This one is from Indica. He says, a little more about you guys. He wants to know more about us, as much or as little as you feel comfortable talking about.
Wow. Okay. So anything, it doesn't have to be chess related, huh?
Yeah, not even chess related.
All right. I am 35 years old, married, no kids, one dog. It's kind of in the shot. Live in Minnesota, like a mile from Jesse. And I'm trying to think what else. Oh, I work for Mayo Clinic in statistics. Work from home job currently. How about you?
You're spoiling a future question.
Oh,
No,
no.
just kidding. Yeah, so I'm Jesse. I've known Matt. How long have we known each other? Maybe three, four. I think it's about 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years sounds
Um,
about right.
yeah. I also live in Minnesota, and I live a mile from Matt. I could run to his house in like 8 minutes if I wanted to. I'm 31. I'm married. I have two kids, and I have another baby due in a couple weeks. Um, yeah, three boys. I started playing chess maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and I've just been hooked ever since. I started off not knowing how to move the pieces, and I'm rated about 15, 1600 on chess.com Blitz right now. I'm a software engineer by trade, and I think that's it. Um, all right. Next question is a little more chess heavy, so get to the good stuff. This one is from Alex. He says, "Hi guys, I'd love your thoughts on the following. As a 1200, a lot of rapid games I play 15 minutes with a 10-second increment. When I lose, it's usually because something has been left hanging rather than because someone found a tactic or has done something really good. Any recommendations on how to improve the blunder radar? Following from this, any recommendations to play on a way to play to recover when a piece down?"
So, first question, the improving the blunder radar. I think like anything, it comes with practice. So, in the beginning, every single move, you should be thinking, what are the threats in the position? Which pieces are hanging? So maybe they can just be captured immediately and they're not defended. But also keep an awareness of how many times each piece is attacked and how many times it's defended. So if it's attacked once, defended once, that's not much different than a piece that's completely unprotected and also not attacked. Um, and that's something that, coming up on another question that I did prepare for, we're talking about how I think about my moves, and I can go a little more in depth in that one. But I think that's something where, yeah, over time, keep trying to think about which things are being attacked, having that kind of board awareness. It'll get better. What was part two of the question?
Part two was, I think, something else you had prepped too, is following on from this, any recommendations on a way to play to recover when you're a piece down?
Yeah, so for that, I think there's kind of two schools of thought. You could either just play really solid and hope your opponent makes mistakes, or you could play aggressive and hope they make mistakes, because either way, they need to make mistakes. And yeah, I'll go more into detail on this for that question coming up, but I would say play aggressive. You really want to just make the position wild. You want to change things up and give both sides more chances to make mistakes, yourself included, because you got nothing to lose and your opponent's the one trying to hold the edge.
Yeah, a few things I would add to this question. John Bartholomew has a really great video on chess fundamentals, and the first one in that series is called, I think it's called Undefended Pieces, and he goes over very carefully how to look for undefended pieces and just have that on your radar. And I would say anytime a piece is defended by another piece or a pawn, you should have a lot of attention on that piece to see if it's going to be attacked or overloaded or something. That's kind of when tactics present themselves. Yeah, advice on how to play when down a piece. I have a ton of experience being down a piece. I would say, yeah, like Matt said, try to make it messy. Try to keep the game closed, keep material on as best as you can. Don't let your opponent simplify, basically, and just try to look for weird chances and any sort of counterplay to make it difficult. I would say don't trade into an endgame and let your opponent just do whatever they want. But yeah, try your best to make it messy.
And I'll also add there's a couple ways you can train that being down a piece. Number one, don't resign too early. So don't resign if you're just down one piece and there's still a whole bunch of pieces on the board. And number two, you can play odds chess, which you can do on chess.com or with your friends, where you actually play with a handicap. Like I'll still let you start with a bishop of mine already captured and just play the game out and practice like that.
Yeah, so I think it's a lot of fun actually to play down a piece. Like you have nothing to lose, just try to swindle your opponent, make cheapo checkmate threats, and maybe they'll fall for them. It's a lot of fun. I've been playing odds chess with my 5-year-old. I so he's like, "Can you play without a queen and a rook?" I'm like, "Sure." Well, last weekend we did that, and he beat me 4 games in a row. It was impressive.
Yeah, he's
A
good. Those
little,
odds are going to be shrinking quick.
yeah, I know. It's like, all right, you have to give me a queen now, or I'm not going to be able to play.
I'm actually looking forward to when, yeah, he spots you a queen. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's see. Next question is from Syed. I believe this was via email. So my question, this is a bit of a weird question, so I'll try to frame it. My question is when and how often to evaluate chess positions. So I think he means during a game. When are you evaluating the position versus kind of playing intuitively? And then the second part is how do you go about actually evaluating the position?
So, in terms of giving the position like a Pawn eval or a Stockfish eval, I'm constantly thinking of that. I don't always think in my head a numeric value, but I'm always thinking slight advantage, large advantage, equal. I always have an awareness of the position. In terms of when to calculate versus play on intuition, um, that again kind of comes with practice, and it's a really tough skill to learn, I think, in chess. But usually, if it's a critical position where the moves, in my opinion, are going to matter a lot more, that's when I calculate. If it's a position where I feel like there's not a lot of tension, not a lot of pieces hanging, I have a sense that there's not an urgency to play the best move, that's when I'll rely more on my intuition and I'll play quicker.
Okay. And do you have things you look for, or how do you go about actually evaluating the position on the board?
Like to give it the kind of numeric score.
Yeah.
So the first thing I look for is the material count, which is who's up, up a pawn, up a rook for a knight and a pawn, whatever it is. And then the next thing I'll look for usually is the mobility of the pieces and who has the initiative. So which side is being more active, which side is creating the threats, kind of dictating what's happening in the position, controlling the board, more space. That's another big one. And king safety as well. So if your king is much safer, but you're down a pawn, chances are the tactics could work more out in your favor because the opponent's king is more exposed.
That's interesting. I'm just realizing whenever I'm thinking about evaluating a position, I'll of course always check for material count. I'll check and then I'll immediately go to, unless like the king is wide open or something, I'll go material count and then I'll always go to who has the better pawn structure. And I feel like whoever has a better pawn structure usually is just a little bit better. It gets weird at grandmaster levels or something because there's theoretical openings where you just take on double isolated pawns for activity or something. But I feel like at the more human level, down at 15, 1600, the side with the better pawn structures usually has the better winning chances, especially in like blitz and even rapid.
I think that's a really good point. And if you watch like how Alpha Zero played when it came onto the scene, and now like Leela Chess and Stockfish have kind of adopted the same principles, uh, those engines really look for space, and a lot of times the space is dictated by the pawn structure. Whose
Mm-hmm.
pawns are controlling the board, and a lot of times for those engines, the pawn structure matters more than just being up one or two pawns. Like you really want to control the board.
Yeah, because pawn structure is pretty permanent. Piece activity, um, there's something to be said, obviously, for having very active pieces. But if you can't do anything with it, you can reposition your pieces to be strong. So that's more of like a temporary dynamic type of element to the evaluation. Yeah, interesting. That was good back and forth, different ways to look at
Yeah, great
engine
question.
evaluations. Let's see. So I hope I answered your questions. I had it wasn't exactly clear what you meant by your question, but hopefully that was good enough answer. Two questions next from Felipe, and I promise this isn't me because this is exactly something I would ask. Um, what are the odds of a 30-year-old intermediate player becoming a master, and how many years are necessary?
Man, that's a really good question. And I feel like so many adults want to know this. Um, I've written some articles and done some research on chess improvement based on age and current rating. Both of those do work against you to some extent. So the higher your rating is and the older you get, the harder it is to improve. The positive news, though, is I think the rating matters much more than the age. So each year older doesn't matter that much, but obviously, like a 10-year-old can improve quicker than a 30-year-old. Just for whatever reason, they can absorb the knowledge quicker. Um, but I think if you're age 30, 1600, and you've already been playing a while, but you have like a good plan in place, and you're able to commit somewhere between like 4 and maybe even all the way up to like 15 hours a week, somewhere in that range, you should be able to see gains every single year. But I think a lot of it is having a structured plan, letting that plan run for a while, and then evaluating how is the plan doing. So, like in our ChessGoals plans, we recommend running the plan for a full 12 weeks before you really determine how's it going. What you don't want to do is just try different things every week. Like, oh, I lost rating points. Let me read this book. No, I don't like that book. Let me buy a Chessable course. So I didn't like that. And just kind of bouncing around because you don't really let your system work. And then the other things I think you want to watch out for is like being too focused on one thing. So you don't want to buy a chess book, like let's say Reassess Your Chess, spend 3 hours a week reading that book, and then when I ask you how many hours did you play, it's like, oh, I didn't get to any games this week. Well, if you're not playing any games, you can't really implement what you're learning in the book. And on the reverse side, you don't want to spend all of your time just, let's say, playing Blitz and Bullet. And then when I ask you, have you been analyzing your games? What are your takeaways from those games? What are you trying to improve on? You don't know. All you know is that you played 50 games this week and you gained 5 elo points. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that probably didn't do a great job of answering the question, but I think, in the first couple years from a 1600, you could still gain 200 points in a year if you're really dedicated. And then as that rating goes higher, the points will get a little lower and lower. So as you get up to like, let's say 1900, 2000, you might only expect to get 50, 75 points a year, but just keep grinding. Um, I was a 2130 player at age 27, and it took me a couple years to get to 2200. So like that last 70 points was tough for me, but I was still able to do it at age 29 is when I got there.
Yeah, we so you have written a an ebook on this about making chess master at any age, and it is difficult, but it is doable, I feel like. Um, I know that there's discussion about how high rated anyone can get with just proper training and motivation and sticking to it. And I think, maybe 18, 1900s kind of reaching on that I don't know, that cliff, I guess. But if you really put in the effort, I feel like 1600, 30 years old, there's a chance.
Yeah. And I think especially for expert level. So if you wanted to get to 2000, let's say, and you're a 30-year-old at age 16, I think you have very good odds.
Hmm.
Um, but then pushing to master, it's going to be a little bit tougher. Like you might hit what feels like a plateau for 18 months and not see a single point of improvement. And then all of a sudden have that, 50, 60 point gain and some major breakthrough. But you really got to stick with it. And I think that's where a lot of people get discouraged, right? It's harder to gain points when your rating gets higher. And, at some point you might just give up on really trying to improve and just enjoying the game. But there's also nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah, this is reminding me something actually in a book that we've both read, Atomic Habits, where he was talking about the best world-class weightlifters. It's like a lot of the time these weightlifters aren't physically like more gifted than anyone else. It's just that they stuck to the plan for so long and they were getting good results doing a squat exercise, and instead of scrapping the plan and doing something else, they stuck with their exercises. So he said he made some joke about the top competitors are really the people who were content with being bored with the exercises the longest.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's something to say about chess in that too, is that it just takes, there's no, three tricks to become chess master. It's just all you have to learn, the pawn structures. You have to just do the work. And I don't know because I'm only 14, 1500, but Matt will agree with me, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay,
And I think
cool.
you'll get there, Jesse. I'm looking forward
Yeah,
to
we'll see. I got to put in the time. I got to stop having babies, I think.
it.
All
Less
right,
babies and less chessable courses.
yeah, yeah, maybe. All right, part two from Felipe. How to improve focus and calculation.
Oh man, this is such a good question. This is something that I struggle with online chess. One thing I really love about chess in general is when you can just get in the zone, stare at a physical chessboard, play a match that lasts hours. There used to be a lot of events that I played in where a game could go 6 hours. And you're walking around sometimes when it's not your move and stuff. You're not always really completely honed in, but you lose track of time because you're so focused. So I think the key is when you're not playing OTB chess to try to recreate that scenario as best as possible. So turn off your phone, put it on airplane mode, get rid of every possible distraction you can when you're ready to play chess, and train your brain to be able to focus and calculate. That's the only way to do it. And maybe even set a timer if that helps and say, I'm going to just, let's say, work on this calculation puzzle or set of puzzles for 10 minutes today. And I'm not going to let anything else distract me. I'm not going to check the weather, anything. Because we kind of live in this world now where there's a lot of things reaching for our attention constantly. And that's one of the beautiful things with chess, I think, is like just the ability to be in the zone and only think about the chessboard. So yeah, it's a skill you have to train.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the training for focus in general is outside of the chessboard. Like you need to be able to sit down and read a book or something for 30 minutes without being distracted or not having 30 tabs open on your computer, something I'm terrible at.
Yeah,
Um, for calculation, one tip I have is when you're doing tactics problems, like online specifically, is don't draw arrows or make moves like that, but just focus on it in your head and see if you can figure out the lines without moving any of the pieces or drawing arrows.
so pretend it's a real game. Pretend you're sitting at a board.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Another thing I'll add is you can tell how hard of work it is if you play a slow classical OTB event because you'll have multiple games lined up in a day usually. And at least for me, at some point during the event, I will start to get a headache from just thinking too hard. Like my brain is not trained. I'm not training with 6 hours a day of studying chess. Um, so yeah, it's something you got to get used to.
Yeah, It's weird. Whenever I'm done with a long chess game, and I swear I'm cursed with long chess games. Like all my games go the full 2.5 hours. Whenever I get done, I am so hungry. I don't know why. I don't know if it happens to other people, but I just get so hungry.
I always try to drink a ton of water when I play chess. I think it helps. That's my
I just
secret.
burn, I just burn time going to the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Now we have a three-parter. So this is our last set of questions. This is from our Discord from PT Smooth. I believe these are focused towards you, Matt. So, what are your own chess ambitions? Are they mainly coaching related, or do you have long-term playing goals?
Long-term playing goals, I'm pretty content at my level, which is barely over 2200. And I think the reason for that is I've come to realize um, that it's going to take a lot more effort that I want to put in to reach the next level, and I'd consider the next level like 2300 USCF and maybe above that 2300 FIDE to get the next title, FIDE Master. And I just don't think right now I want to prioritize improving my chess level when I'm already kind of happy with what I'm at. What I really like to do is focus on the ChessGoals project. I get a lot of satisfaction out of helping people, seeing people improve, our community, especially with the new Discord that we have, like see people bouncing ideas off each other, logging their progress,
Memes.
memes from PD Smooth. Yeah, that's what I'd like to see. Just the Chess Goals community grow. I really like it, and I think that's where I want to put my attention.
Yeah, cool. My own chess ambitions. I don't have a goal to make master or anything, but I think it'd be. I just want to play more over the board, and I feel like that's how I improve. I always come away from each tournament. I feel a lot stronger. I feel like right now my rating is a little deflated. I've only played 15 or 20 OTB games in my whole career, and I'm rated 1360 or somewhere around in there. So I'd like to get that up to maybe 1500 or so, and just keep grinding. But I don't have any massive, big chess ambitions to make master or anything like that. Um, so kind of going off the first question, what are your future plans with chess goals? Is there something specific that you have in mind? There are a few chess communities like Chess Dojo and chessmoods.com that have also recently sprouted up. So I'm also curious. So I'm just curious what your vision is.
I think we should start with you on that one, Jesse, if you want to talk about the trainer.
Yeah, so I am working on a tactics trainer for chess goals. It's very early, but if you're part of our Discord, you got a sneak preview of it. It's proving to be very difficult, but I feel like I'm in a good intersection of software engineering and chess mindedness that I can kind of put the pieces together. So it's been a fun project for sure. It's going at a slow speed, just given how difficult of a problem it is. But I think that's kind of where we're going for our next product. Yeah, outside of the trainer, I think we want to do some more opening courses. I think we want to do some more YouTube and get more people in the study plans and just like enjoy our Discord because it's a lot of fun. It's just right now, I think I'm mostly focused on just kind of like building this community. What do you think?
I agree with that. And, you know, this for both of us is a hobby, and it's something we get a lot of enjoyment out of, but it's not something that we're necessarily trying to make a huge company, right? Like we enjoy working as a two-person team right now and just building the community. And almost every single day, I think, I send Jesse a text like, Jesse, I got some crazy idea for chess goals or some new idea every single day. And I have more ideas than time to do these things. So I think the path that we end up taking could easily change as we go. But,
Yeah.
For now we're just looking for improvements. And like Jesse said, the YouTube channel is my big focus lately. I still want to do blog posts, and Jesse will still be blogging as well. But I think it's just a new platform for us to reach out and find new people, and it's also a really nice way for me to just do quick videos like game analysis, play like a master series, things like that. And it's really becoming a little easier for me now that I'm in the habit of doing it. I try to do one video every single day and then just post it the next day.
Yeah, I'm gonna start doing some chess videos too, at some point. Let's see. Yeah, I had a train of thought of how our focus has shifted over the past, I don't know, year or so. So we focused a lot on just optimizing the website and making it fast, getting a new provider for our for WordPress basically, and churning out blog posts, like really high quality long posts. And then once we like got a little bit of traction, we're like, oh, we should really like have a study plan because no one has study plans. And like once we got that, we're like, oh, we should do an opening course. We should do YouTube. And so it's been an evolution for sure. And each stage has been a ton of fun. I think our stage right now is building up YouTube, building up I don't know, maybe some more opening repertoire courses and the trainer.
Yeah, so I'm doing a lot of my focus is YouTube and the opening courses currently. Like I'm working on a Slav course, and Jesse's doing the trainer, and we're both blogging. And what else was I gonna say? Oh, the reason we did the study plans the way we had them is because we were already doing kind of the free study plan info on the website. But I really wanted to like dive in deep and give specific plans that had support attached to it. So I think that's kind of the angle that we always want to keep no matter what. That's like our foundation. We want to have, a coach behind the scenes that helps you and to tell you exactly how to train. We want to take the guesswork out of it, and I think that part will always stay the same. The things that are going to change is how do we get you that information? Is it coming through a trainer? Is it coming through a study plan? Is a study plan built into the trainer? Those kind of things I think will change over time, but we always want to like give our members just a real guide, I guess, on how to study, so they don't have to figure that out.
Yeah. All right. Last question for you. What do you guys do for real work and stuff like that?
So for me, I'm in breast cancer research at Mayo Clinic, and my job title is statistical programmer analyst. So I do some programming and then kind of run analyses, create reports, and then relay that information to my teams.
And I'm a software engineer. So right now I'm mostly working on Android. I've done a few apps in the past, but a little bit of web development in the past. But right now I'm just working in fintech, writing Android apps. And that's all the mystery questions we had today. Matt, it seemed like someone like tipped you off and gave you all the questions because you had such good answers to everything.
No one tipped me off.
No, this was completely unstaged. I promise I didn't slip him any questions.
Oh, one more question for you though. What's your favorite piece? I was really hoping for that one.
Oh, my favorite. Yeah, I'd say my favorite piece is the F pawn. What's your favorite piece?
Light square bishop.
Light square bishop every time. All right, so we have a few other questions that that I sent to Matt earlier, just so we could get a full picture or a full answer of his thoughts on it. So we'll cover that in the next video. Anything else you want to go over?
No, I don't think so. I'll just add, if you like this video, please click the like button and subscribe for more content. And then stay tuned for the next video, which we'll put a link at the end of this video, where we have the prepared questions. All right, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, everyone.
See ya.